Hi, I'm Starla from lifefullandfrugal.com, and today we're going to talk about how to forage 10 herbal remedies from your yard. So I am really excited about this because I have always loved plants, but I really love herbs. I was kind of one of those funny homeschool kids that was really into herbs and botany, and I had visions of grandeur of having a beautiful English herb garden or maybe even a French garden of flowers and herbs mixed together like a potager. But I was just really fascinated by plants. And so when I homeschooled, I decided to do one of my science classes on botany. And so I really got into studying herbs and found out that many of the weeds in your yard are actually herbs, and they have had long histories used in herbal medicine, both in Western herbal medicine as well as Eastern, especially in Chinese medicine. The first herb that I really want to talk about is the violet. It's a beautiful plant that grows in everyone's yard, especially here in Ohio. It blooms at the end of April, beginning of May, and it's a wonderful remedy for a dry cough, upper respiratory congestion. It's great to be used as a remedy for bronchitis, as well as urinary tract infections, and the flowers are stunning. You can also make violet syrup out of them. Just make a simple sugar syrup and add violets to them, and you can use that as your cough syrup. And you can make all kinds of infusions out of the leaves and the flowers as well. In Chinese medicine, they use the whole plant, and here in the Western herbalism, we tend to just use the flowers and the leaves. So violet is my first one that you can find easily in your yard. The next herb I want to go over that you can find in your yard are nettles. Nettles are universally known as a spring tonic, and they are wonderful because the leaves of a nettle are full of vitamin C. And nettles have a deep root system that goes down into the subsoil and pulls up minerals. And one of the minerals that nettles really pick up is iron. So it's used historically to treat anemia, which your body needs vitamin C to assimilate the iron. And so wonderful that nettles also contains high amounts of vitamin C. And it's wonderful to clear the body of uric acid, so it's a wonderful treatment for gout. Another wonderful herb that you can forage from your yard is ground ivy. And it is just lovely, just like the violet. It has a beautiful purple flower on it. It creates a beautiful mat of flowers, and it's usually flowers in late April, early May here in Ohio. The one thing that's really great about ground ivy is it's great to use for coughs and congestion, but it's also one of the best remedies to deal specifically with infection or mucus buildup in the middle ear, and which causes tinnitus. And I can attest to how much it helps with that. So I really like ground ivy. And it was also used historically in the past as a preservative for beer before people used hops. So ground ivy is a very special ancient herb. The next herb that we're going to go over that can be found in your yard is the common dandelion. Beautiful flower in the spring, and it's just wonderful because it's one of the first sources of nectar for the bees as they just come out of the hibernation period from winter. So keep those dandelion flowers. Dandelions are used historically as a spring tonic and as a gentle liver cleanse. It's used to remove jaundice and gallstones, and it's wonderful to remove heat from the blood. The Chinese say that, and what that does is it really works as a blood purifier. So The common dandelion is a powerful, powerful healer. The next herb that we're going to talk about that you can forage for in your yard is plantain. And we're going to actually go with the large leaf plantain. It's used for dry coughs, it's used for urinary tract infections, and it's also used to make a poultice with to pack into wounds. And I can personally attest to this because I did this for my dad when I was learning about herbs, and when he had hurt his thumb by hitting it with a hammer, and we packed it with plantain, and it really pulled the infection. So plantain is a wonderful herb and it's very simple to find. The next herb we're going to talk about that you can forage for in your yard is yarrow. Yarrow is a beautiful plant, has very feathery leaves, and it's just lovely. It gets a white flower, and it won't bloom until about mid-May, early June here in Ohio. What yarrow is great for is it's really good to clear the body system of phlegm. Its aerial parts are used to control high blood pressure. But you want to be careful with yarrow. If you're pregnant, I would suggest not using it because it is a uterine stimulant. The next herb that we're going to talk about is chickweed, which with its name, it's actually telling you something about it. It was historically used to feed little chicks. It's wonderful and very nutritious. You can use it to put in a spring salad. It's a wonderful spring tonic. It's mostly used to deal with skin conditions in Western herbalism, and in Chinese medicine, it's used to cool the body down during high fevers. And so it's a wonderful spring tonic, and it's got cute little white flowers. It's kind of a cute, adorable plant. The next herb we're going to talk about is cleavers, which it's also known as goosegrass because historically, after the animals were let out for the spring, it was one of the first plants that comes up that the geese would eat. It's highly nutritious. It is a spring tonic. It is a wonderful tonic for the lymphatic system. So all around, cleavers, also known as goosegrass, is just a wonderful spring herb. The next herb we're going to talk about is Russian olive flower. In folk medicine, it's been used to treat nausea, fever, and jaundice, and coughs. It smells lovely. It just is a beautiful little flower. It gives off a rich scent, and it's wonderful for bees. Last but not least, we're going to talk about the wild honeysuckle bush. This has a delicious scent, and a lot of people are gathering the flowers to make teas or simple syrups to add to cocktails or mocktails. And it's a wonderful source of nectar for the bees. It's historically been used to treat coughs and asthma. So now that we've learned all about these lovely herbs that you can forage in your yard, we took 5 of them that we chose, and we decided to make a lovely tea that could be used as a spring tonic. And we went out into our yard and around the meadow. We just gathered ground ivy, we gathered dandelion flowers, we gathered violet flowers and leaves, and then we also gathered the flowers from the honeysuckle bush and the Russian olive bush. And we just made this lovely concoction. We took all these flowers and we added them to a teapot. We heated up some water to boiling, and then we just covered the flowers. And what you're doing when you do that is you're creating what's called an infusion, and you're just basically making a tea. And we made this tea. It was delicious. And what's so great is we got all the health benefits of these wonderful herbs that we just talked about. So it was just like a lovely spring tonic, and it's just cleansing of the body. at this time of the year in the spring when we've had such a long winter. You can do this with pretty much all the herbs we've talked about. So you can just go out, forage, create teas, infusions, or simple syrups. But again, what we did was we made infusions. I just really hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a lot about foraging in your own yard. And I hope you realize that God is so gracious. He's given us so much, and all we need to do is take the time to go out and look at creation, take the time to look around and see what He's giving us and use it. I really encourage you to get a good identification guide to the plants in your yard. I highly recommend buying used copies, and then you can just begin to practice more and more foraging in your yards. I really, really enjoy herbs. I'm fascinated by their healing power and how really up until the First World War, it was the medicine of all peoples around the world. God bless you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and please also subscribe if you would like to continue to see some of our content. Thanks so much. We'll see you again soon.